Alright, YouTube. I was actually looking around a little bit and on YouTube, and I realized there's really no comparison videos between a couple of really common bows. I've been shooting the Z7 Extreme for several years now. This is a 28 axle to axle bow, and shot plenty of deer with it. It's real accurate, real fast. And a couple years ago when the Creed come out, I wanted to buy it, but when I went and looked at it, it was 30 axle to axle, I believe, and it was going to run me a couple $100 to upgrade. So I shot one, and I didn't really see any significant reason or improvement that would require me buying a new bow. There was nothing that stood out with it. It was like, wow, I need to go throw $200-300 to upgrade. And so I didn't. I kept shooting my Z7 Extreme, and then next year the Creed XS comes out, and that matched the Z7's size. It was 28 axle to axle. Again, I went and looked at one, shot it. For some reason, the price seemed to have come down on them a little bit, and I guess off that new bow issue. They always require a maximum dollar. Still, even at a couple $100, it wasn't really worth me buying a new bow. It didn't give me $200 worth of reason. Well, the other day, this is August 2015. My father-in-law called me and said that a local gun shop, bow shop that we have here in North Carolina, had put their Creeds on clearance for $600. Now we're talking, because I know that these bows sell for more than $600 used, the Z7. So I'm like, I went up there, looked at them, and of course I bought one. It was worth $600. The Creed sells even used online for more than what I paid for it new, so I knew I wasn't going to lose any money. And because I bought the same camouflage, the Lost camo, and I already got enough accessories on there, I wasn't going to have to buy any accessories. So anyway, that said, I decided to do a video comparing the two. I want to go ahead and start with how I have my Extreme set up, and this is exactly how I'm going to have my Creed set up too, because I'm moving everything over. My Z7, my setup is I use a tight spot quiver for a couple of reasons. Number one is it's extremely strong. This is a strong quiver. I bought a lot of these rotted quivers where you can adjust the height of them, but they were so weak when you went to pop a arrow in, it actually would flex and pop other arrows out. So I took like 3 or 4 of these quivers back and got my money back, and I went ahead and says, sometimes you just have to pay for something, and I bought the tight spot. I love it. This is the best quiver, period. Besides the fact that it keeps it really tight to the bow, you can also adjust the height of it, because you can adjust it right there, how high up and down you want. And because this bow is 28 axle to axle, and I shoot a 30-inch arrow, I'm able to shift it up high enough to where I can leave the hood just a little above the upper limb, and the fletches are about even with the lower, so if I set the bow down, it doesn't want to knock any arrows off. It's strong as an ox, and very well made. My release is the hardcore. I bought one right when they come out. Love it. Now everybody makes a release like a hardcore. My rest is a QAD with the lockdown. Now it's called the HDX because they have more stuff. I've had this this rest on about 4 or 5 different bows, and it still works great. But I'm going to leave it on this bow when I sell it. I've already ordered a new one in Lost camo for my Creed. Let me get this quiver out of the way. I did, of course, I served mine into the down cable. Sight. I bought a G5 XR2 sight. I like the idea of a single pin sight, but the way I work this one is, just in case you didn't know the way the XR2 works. Let me see if I can't get up here. Alright. There's a knob on the side where you can put marks on it, and it rotates a lower pin up and down. So what I do is I run my adjustable pin all the way up, and I shot it at 30 yards. And with it up all the way, I moved the entire sight to gain my 30-yard mark, and then the upper pin, which is my 20-yard pin, then I brought it down and shot it at 20. So with the without having to look, I can run this pin all the way up till it stops, and I know there's 20 and 30, and there's 99% of my hunting shots right there. If a deer comes in outside of 30 yards, I feel better to reach up with my hand and move that down to my 40, 50, 60, whatever. But this pretty much, if I leave that up all the way, that's 99% of my bow shots, and I don't have to reach up and adjust anything. With a single pin sight, if a deer comes inside at 30 and I've got it sit on 30 and it moves in closer to 20, I have to reach up there and move the sight. And I don't really feel like extra movement when a deer's within 20 yards, so I thought this sight was absolutely perfect, and I love it. It's lightweight, it's magnesium, it's got a little harmonic dampener in there. You can put a light on top, but I haven't had any issues with it, so I really like this sight. And I'm going to be moving it to the Creed. D-loop, oh yeah, my peep. I went through a bunch of different peeps, and I settled on this pink peep, and I think it's made by Red Eye. It's aluminum, and the reason I like the pink peep is for a couple of reasons. I noticed on the Meta peep, the blue peep, that in low light it was too dark and you really couldn't make out the peep very well, and the red peep in the daylight was too bright and glared a little bit. The pink peep seems to be the perfect balance. With this peep I get, it doesn't glare in bright light, and it still reflects enough in low light so I can see it really well. It's getting to be kind of hard to find these things, so I'll be moving my peep sight over as well. That's my setup on this bow, but let me give you, this video is more about my comparison between these two, because for some strange reason not a lot of people's compared the Creed to the Z7, which in all honesty I think these are siblings. Right now this no cam is out. My father-in-law bought the no cam. I shot it. I don't like it. It's noisy. It's slow. I just don't like it. So anyway, I bought this one, and I pulled a whisker biscuit off of my son's bow just to shoot this thing. I didn't set it up. I was just shooting at about 10 yards. No peep sight or nothing yet, so I haven't really set it up completely. I just set a center shot, and really I shot it just to see how it felt, and I chronoed them. So now here I am seeing that people are still on the Z7, and they actually are doing a little bit better. Sometimes buying them used, they sell better than the Creed. It almost makes me wonder if I've made a bit of a mistake. I've actually been on the fence about selling the new Creed and just keeping my Z7. But anyway, let me give you some of the comparison of these two bows. You got the basics. They're the exact same length, axle to axle, but the cam and idler are larger, so the overall length of the bow is actually a little bit longer on the Creed. The weight is a lot lighter. This bow, I mean, on paper it doesn't look like it's a lot lighter, but when you pick them up in your hand, it's a lot lighter. Couple of different reasons that it's a lot lighter. Most of your weight in a bow is in the riser, and if you look, the Creed riser is a little bit shorter. It's a little smaller, not much, but they also the grid on the Creed is a little thinner, and this outside wall, like for instance this distance here, the outside wall is a lot thinner than the Creed. I mean than the Z7. So they saved a lot of weight on the Creed by thinning out the riser. And of course they went with a lighter weight string stop, which I think started on the helium versus the dead end, which is a little bit bulkier. They skeletonized the reverse roller guide versus the Z7. And that's probably the biggest savings of weight. Of course, the limbs on the Z7 are the S3 single limbs, slim limb bow, and the Creed is a split limb bow. Alright, now the most important thing, and this is what I guess where most of these reviews have, no one's really compared the two, at least not on YouTube that I've seen. Shooting performance. I've chronoed them. Z7 Extreme, cranked all the way down, producing 71.25, give or take, pounds of draw. Shooting the exact same maximum maximum hunter arrows, 30-inch arrows. This one is giving me like 302, 303 feet per second. This one, just like the book says, the Creed, is 10 feet per second slower. And it's cranked all the way down. I didn't pull it on the draw, but I'm going to guess it's going to be 70, 71 pounds. It's a 70-30. This is a 70-30. So this bow is about 10 feet per second slower. Not a big deal. The deer don't care. But what about the draw? The draw. It is so little difference and so hard to determine the two, I really don't want to comment. I don't think either one of them is any more harsh than the other. Maybe a little bit of leniency to the Creed, maybe, but it's so difficult, it's almost impossible to give you a good answer. I spent the other day, I took a couple of arrows and I'd shoot this one and I'd pick this one up and shoot it. I'd go get my arrows, I'd pick this one up, shoot it, this one up, shoot it. I just wanted to shoot them back and forth, back and forth. I couldn't really tell you on the draw curve if it's really that beneficial or not. So I give that a draw. Smoothness. Now both of them are dead in the hand. I mean dead in the hand. But if I had to give a nod, the Creed is more dead. I'm sorry, no. The Z7 is more dead in the hand than the Creed. It's so little, it's not worth talking about. It might be because this bow's heavier. Maybe if the Creed had the same weight in it as this one, it would help to absorb or counterbalance some of that shock. But it's definitely, I would say it's noticeably more dead in the hand. Is this one not like a problem? The Creed? No. But this one gets the nod on being dead in the hand. Cannot really tell you about accuracy because this one hasn't been set up, but I'm assuming that just like most Mathews bows, it's going to be accurate. Now, going back to the dead in the hand and going back to the weight of the bow, this next category being quiet, they're all kind of related. The Z7 is a smidgen more quiet. I relate the noise that I'm hearing out of the Creed to be very acceptable, very quiet, but it's a little bit more string resignation. There's no frame, pulley, cam, limb noise, no vibration. It's just a little bit of like a you can hear it like kind of like a guitar plucked string that's kind of muffled. So I'm pretty sure that the noise I'm hearing in the Creed is just string, but let's go and compare the two bows in regards to that. The Z7 has the dead end string stop. Has 1, 2, 3 monkey tails. Also has a string stop here and a string stop here off of the limbs. The Creed only has the 1 string stop and the 1 monkey tail. Now, have the Creed have as much string deadening as the Z7, it would probably be more quiet. But if I just add maybe a few monkey tails to this one, this might be as quiet as the Z7. But then going back to the weight, the fact that they do not have the string dampener on the limbs on the Creed is free of them. That might have something to do with the fact that the weight is lower on the Creed, but it also might have to do with why it's got a little bit more string noise. Now if I add the monkey tail to the bus and maybe a few other places. Might put them even Steven. But that's kind of your give and your take. So that's dead. That's noisy. Let me see if I can't get this. This is your bus cable, your split yoke. If I pluck this one, you can hear it. Same thing with dead, noisy, noisy. That one don't have a monkey tail on it, and it's got some noise. So you can definitely hear the difference. Here's your split yoke again. Dead, noisy. So maybe if I add my monkey tails to my cables on the Creed, I can shut it up a little bit, make it even with the Z7, and obviously the monkey tails don't have any weight, so I might be able to shut this bow up and not add any weight to it, and that will give the nod to the Creed. So I really can't tell you. The only thing is if a buddy of mine's going to be buying this bow, supposedly next weekend. He's coming down, passing through the state, and I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and let the Z7 go and just go ahead and run with the Creed. I really cannot tell you that this was an improvement. I think that it was more of a lateral move, which makes me happy about going into it with no money, because I'll be able to sell this one for what I paid for this one. If I had to pay extra money to go to the Creed, I wouldn't say that it was a good deal, because it doesn't give me anything that I didn't already have here with the Z7. So I think it's just a change in bow. I'm glad I'm not going to have any out-of-pocket expense to do the switch, but in all honesty, it's, where one thing has a benefit, the other one does not. But this one has some benefits, this one does not. I find it to be a lateral move, and I'm glad that I'm making the switch without having to throw any money in it. I cannot really attest for the accuracy of the Creed. I haven't heard anything bad. I'm fairly certain that it's going to shoot just as good as anything. So anyway, I guess once I shoot the bow, and maybe I can have an opinion on how the Creed shoots, I'll do another video. I also want to show you a little trick that I learned that I've started incorporating, and this maybe can help some of you guys. Ties your own D-loops. Whenever you draw your bow, I'm right-handed, and I come back and I anchor my natural twist is going to be counterclockwise. So my hand's not going to be perfectly straight up and down. It's going to be slightly turned in. You hook it like this and you draw it back and then you anchor. So you have a natural left twist. Now the D-loop helps with that, but let me show you a little something here. If you alternate your D-loop, as you can see, your upper exits the left side of the string and my lower knot exits the right side of the string, and that gives you a natural left-hand turn or counterclockwise turn. So whenever I draw my bow, this is going to match up to my release a little better with a natural counterclockwise motion. And again, whenever you take your release and you hook it flat and you draw back an anchor, you clock your release slightly counterclockwise. This is for a right-handed shooter. So whenever you tie these on, any little benefit helps. It doesn't cost you anything to alternate your knots. Just remember, you want your right-handed shooter, you want your knot turning slightly counterclockwise. Your knot exits on the left in the top and on the right on the bottom. That's a little trick I picked up recently. Anyway, if you have any questions or concerns, I know this bow's technically already last year's and the year before's flagship model, but oh good lord, I got a nick in the thing right there. You gotta be kidding me. That sucks. That's like when you get a brand new pair of shoes and someone steps on it. I'd be daggone. Oh well, nothing a little magic marker won't take care of. I know it's old bow. If you have any questions, feel free to throw a question down there in the comment section. But I'm hoping this video gives a little bit of insight or help to anybody that's considering a Creed. You can definitely get a pretty good deal on one right now. Now I will tell you that this bow compared to the no cam, all day long I'd rather have this bow. Like I said, my father-in-law's got the no cam. I've shot it. I'm not impressed. I think that was something that the bow world didn't need. All they did was reinvent the wheel. The idea of the no cam is to have it come off the upper pulley and the lower pulley at the same, giving you a level knock travel. But where you have a cam has the eccentric, all they did was move the eccentric into this little oblong thing on the interior. And his bow's 70 pounds, and I chronoed it when I chronoed these, and I'm only getting like barely 250 feet per second, and it's a 70-pound bow. He's actually set at about 67 pounds, about 3 pounds less than this one. And this thing here's, closing in there at the 292s, and his is shooting the 250s. That means that 70-pound draw that you're pulling is getting absorbed elsewhere. It's not as efficient as their solo cam or their twin cam, monster chill lineup or whatever. That Creed, that no cam, I think so far is a joke. I don't care for it. But anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot them to me in the comments. Anyway, good luck this season for all you bow hunters.